Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Jared. I host a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. This is it. You're on it. This is Justice's Waiting Room, where we show up every day and pretend like we're getting any closer to accountability for these fucking assholes. Good morning. Good morning. I have good and bad news. I'll just say it right away. Good news is that bill hasn't passed. Bad news is it is probably going to pass. So, uh, the fallout will be what backdoor deals were made to change those votes overnight that were a no yesterday. It just goes to show you that Democrat or Republicans have no spine at all and will absolutely capitulate and gamble with your lives. And that's the thing that I cannot abide. Yeah, yeah. Democrats are they're gonna talk is what. Hey, uh I think it's still most one of the smarter decisions you could make now is withholding your federal tax. Mhm. Remember, no taxation without representation, right? Right. Those social safety nets that you're afforded, right, that you invest in over the course of your life. Hey, I mean, you can't say I didn't show up every day since December 12th and say, hey, 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 they're gonna cut social safety nets. They're going to it's there are things worse than bankruptcy. Uh and I guess that's what Donald Trump's trying to find out with all his voter base. One of the things that makes this really bittersweet, and I gotta be really honest with you. I gotta be really honest with you, right? I can only deliver candor if I'm not. Fuck am I talking about? I'm kind of like I'm mad and I'm disappointed because it's a self-inflicted wound in my eyes, and that's what you hate to see. Friendly fire, as it were. Uh, America is about to Pat Tillman a bunch of old people. If you understand that reference, thank me for my service. It's a joke. Um, if that doesn't make you laugh, if you don't understand where my brain goes in times of uh, like I would say that I would be grieving if I didn't know this was going to disproportionately impact the people that voted for it. That this is absolutely Donald Trump and this regime biting the hands that feeds it, enriching themselves. God, he took everything from those people. And there are so actual few of them. I want to make sure that we continue to point this out. I think it's really low brow to still be attacking Donald Trump's base because there really aren't that many people. And every one of them that support him is getting all the pub they can tolerate, trust, okay? And that instead of lifting up the people that are doing the right thing, which is what we should be doing, we gravitate towards the people doing the wrong thing, right? Like, I actually didn't know who that fat bearded dude, he's a worse looking version of me, the older millennial. I didn't even know who the fuck that was. So there were people for fucking the last 2 weeks that have been like, oh my God, did you see the older millennial got fucking arrested and tased? Now, see how my brain works is that all I could think is good. Good? I didn't even think about what did he do to deserve that because all I had to do was go watch a few pieces of his content and I thought, "Oh, he's getting the energy he puts out." Oh, you know the energy that your boy puts out? Now, I say this before somebody comes and puts my fire out, but the there were two big trucks parked in front of my house the other day. Big trucks. And of course, in the times we're in, I'm like, it's a dangerous situation. Like I took a picture out of my bathroom window. I'll post it in the chat. There were really two trucks parked like right in front of my yard yesterday. I thought for sure a bunch of people was gonna get out of it and bum rush us, right? Uh, but it was just two delivery drivers. Uh, they stopped to take a picture of the sunset over the grass in my yard, which needs mowed. But uh, it was just a pretty picture. The sunset was just pretty yesterday. That's why they were there, and they stayed there for a while, and it was just a really pretty picture. Um, that's about as close to bragging as I try to get. Like that's the kind of energy um, where you see the people in charge right now are cheering for all the people that they're gonna hurt. And they don't realize they're largely hurting the people that supported them. So it makes it, I wouldn't say bittersweet. That's not the that's not the it's not the flavor that it's like Everclear, right? It tastes absolutely horrible. If you can down it, it'll fuck you up. And it's certainly not for me. There's only about half of the people I know that could even stomach it. Probably even less than that. And if they can, they're probably a fucking lunatic. To the degree that wouldn't trust somebody that can just down Everclear no problem. You know what I'm saying? Tina says she went to the protest at Alligator Alcatraz. Hey, good on you, Tina. Fuck yeah. Hope you made all kind of content. I can't stomach making content off protest. I make a video when I walk up and then I do my fucking thing. And then I'm like, all right, I gotta go home. Like, I gotta overexpose myself. I have to be that dickhead that I get surrounded on four sides by people, and immediately in my head, I'm like, I have 16,000 fucking followers on TikTok. Like, I'm gonna get my ass jumped. That's what I'm thinking. Is like, there's people on all sides of me, and I don't know any of these people. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get jumped. Because I want to point this out. I want to point this out. As we move forward with the American Socialist Party, as we move forward together, um, I'm really concerned for everyone's safety. Yeah, yeah. Particularly at Auschwitz there in Florida. Way to go, guys. Ron DeSantis, baby. He built Auschwitz in 8 days. Way to go, buddy. And it's not the alligators that I'm worried about. Uh, I want to be wrong. Yeah, I've been there, Zeke. That's the problem. That's the problem with fame. No one wants to pay the price. The price for fame on TikTok is joining the what's the seller program? I forget what it's called on TikTok. I don't do that shit. I'm not a capitalist. Do you notice I don't do the what's it called, man? You notice how I don't split other people's content? I don't do none of that shit. Nope. Nope. It's not like I'm not a part of the band on the Titanic as the ship goes down. I'm like the first ship's mate that is standing there watching people try to get on these goddamn boats. And I'm like, you all can't get on this boat together. That boat will capsize. And people are just like, fuck you, white boy, and just like belly flopping. And you're just like, it's freezing fucking cold, and you're all gonna die. And just watching people like jump off the side of the Titanic, and you're just like, man, you could have just stayed aboard the boat. It would have been a better way to go, right? Could have grown a garden, could have got a generator, solar panels, got to know your neighbors and shit. Like, I've been saying it for 7 fucking months now, right? And now, today, uh, a couple hundred people are gonna decide how many millions of you die. And the problem isn't like I'm absolutely taken aback at the how we just don't value human life. I I'm just and it's the remember the Republicans are in charge of the House and the Senate, and they have the presidency and a Supreme Court. So this they own this. It's theirs. Not a Democrat vote for that, right? Never concerned with followers. Zeke, never concerned. Like we every now and then we'll spike and there'll be like 700, 1,000 people in here, and I think about how I didn't want for any of this. That's how I really feel. I didn't want for any of this. But things change, dreams change. And quickly, quick, fast, in a hurry. At least for me. And again, that's my whole life, guys. It's my entire life. This is how my life has gone. I was thinking about who I am today. Undecided. I just can't imagine all the people that already can't get the health care that they need and it getting even more difficult for them. I think about how crazy it is, right? On Reddit, there's a new homeowners subreddit, and they're all posting pictures of their keys and their pizza they got on the first night and their terms. And I work in finance, and they're getting absolutely fucking fleeced. If you really want to talk numbers, hey man, housing prices are absolutely fucking absurd. The Fed recently said, "Hey, we'd have cut rates if it wasn't for the tariffs." So all of you people that are signing up for mortgages that I'm like, "Oh my God, that house is not worth that, and that loan is certainly not worth those terms." And holy shit, your monthly payment is 2.5 times what I pay, right? And one of the things that people don't understand when they go to buy a house is that mortgage price does not include taxes and insurance, and it's gonna be a good portion of your mortgage payment, and people don't fucking realize. People just don't even realize that. So that's you know obviously this bill is expected to pass today, and it looked like there was some hope yesterday. You know what I mean? I slept all through the night last night. I woke up this morning and there wasn't shit all over the place. The bill passed overnight. And I was like, "Oh, good. Cowards. They're going to make them pass it in the light of day." Um and good, as they should. Make them sign their name on the dotted line under the light of day. Remember when presented with the math that this will unalive 11,000 people a year, Republicans smiled. Only 11? That these people smile about the suffering of other Americans. Like, hey, I always thought it was kind of batshit crazy that we had people in political power that like hated Saudis or hated some specific race of people. And you were just like, I don't fucking understand that shit, right? Now I get older and I just fucking hate everybody. That's a joke. I'm kidding. That's not what I really meant. That was just like the best end to that particular sentence. Um, but yeah, like we were okay with it, with people being oddly racist, and then we're surprised when if you're willing to be a racist, you will unalive your brother. You get it? Like if I've been saying it this whole time, we're all related, right? So if that, especially if you look alike. So it's particularly incestual to be racist. Do you understand? To want to be around people that look like you is to want to be around your relatives. Just want to throw that out there. If you're a racist and you're like, I only want to be around people that look like me, that means you only want to be around your family. And that's fucking weird. Meaning it makes no fucking sense. And so, if people are willing to be outwardly racist in the United States, which is a nation of immigrants, if people are willing to be anti-immigrant, outwardly anti-immigrant in a nation of immigrants, and the problem is that 75% of Americans are willing to lower themselves to the as long as they have paperwork clause. And they're like, oh, I guess most people would agree that you got to have your paperwork. And it's like, y'all, that is a fucking civil penalty. Like jaywalking. Not having your papers? Get the fuck out of here. So yeah, especially if they're also white, you're like related. The less you look alike, the less you're related. Mhm. And we're all related if you go back far enough. So know that while, you know, this disproportionately affects the people that voted for Donald Trump, it also gives Donald Trump unchecked power and gives ICE a big operating budget. Maybe they can put real bullets in their guns. And that story that I made a few days ago where I said, hey, is ICE flying its planes out into the middle of the ocean and dropping people out the back? And people pointed me to Knitting Cult Lady, whose argument was if they were doing that, people would be talking about it, which is a flimsy argument. See, see, you can be really intelligent about cults, but when you say shit like if something like that had happened, they'd be talking about it. And then their other question was, do you actually think this regime would do that? And it's like, are you aware of the death flights? Like, hey, again, I can have a deep respect for someone and it be piss deep. You get it? Like, once you realize that everyone has to be safe, and everybody, especially if you're intelligent, you have to be careful with the shit that you say, right? And with her having such a powerful like presence, she has to be careful about saying the president of the United States and ICE took people, shackled them together, put them on a cargo ship, flew them out in the middle of the ocean, and dumped them off. I think it's still very loose. I'm just throwing this out there. Associating it is very loose, but we did it. We did it. We associated it, and we said it makes sense if you're not paying attention because you're not flying from the US to Spain and back without having to refuel. So that kind of shoots that argument in the foot. It's a pretty far way to fly across the fucking ocean. And then to not land and get gas and refill up with, I don't know, people that you're bringing to the United States. I don't know. But having it be a little more purposeful flight makes sense. But also how unsafe it would be to dump all those people off the back of an airplane. This isn't fucking Mission Impossible. That aircraft stands a chance of crashing trying to fucking dump bodies. Now, why I know that has more to do with like real life experience than it does classroom experience. I was on a ship on the Marine Corps, and we had to do work on helicopters and the Osprey, and so I've been around several different airframes. So having kind of been around a bunch of different aircraft and different kinds of aircraft, you kind of get a sense of yeah, it'd be like unnecessarily dangerous. There's not very many pilots taking that fucking job. I can't believe that ice flights are happening. That there are people with pilot's license that are willing to fly these aircraft. How do you fucking sleep at night? Right? That's the thing that blows my fucking mind is like how are they not running through pilots? You know what I mean? How there's not a pilot shortage? What the fuck? So if again, dead ass, if your response to me insinuating that the president of the United States would load up an airplane with people shackled together and dump them out in the middle of the ocean, and if you asked me if I thought that would really happen, fuck yeah. What are you talking about? Yeah, that's totally within his wheelhouse. But then if you immediately say, well, these bodies washed up in the Mediterranean near off the coast of Mallorca in Spain, immediately my brain's like, no, you didn't. Oh, that's cool, Blackhawk. Okay. So I want to make sure, as we do it, we get it on here every day. We spend quite a bit of time talking about what's most important. What's most important today, if you haven't already, is that you download the Five Calls app and you call your House representatives and you beg them, plead them not to vote no on this fucking bill. Um, and understand that it should go away. This bill should go away because Donald Trump is rumored to have said yesterday, and Parnas's little girlfriend said said that White House aides were talking to Donald Trump yesterday, and he didn't want this bill to affect people with Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP, and that's like the whole bill. And there's a ripple effect that happens between things that happen in the real life, and then you say that, Blackhawk. Here's the thing that I am never doing. I am never putting faith in a body of people to not be cruel when given a chance. And this is one of the most cruel things ever. I wouldn't be surprised if fucking Democrats flipped and voted for this. Because again, as I've said this whole fucking time, this shit disproportionately affects people who voted for this regime. So the thing it's very difficult for me to not kind of be like, is this not the worst? This is the lamest harikari in history. Like you, it's like they had a collapsible knife that it only becomes a knife when there's like a half inch left. So the really, it's like ah shit. I muted myself. Sorry about that. I almost threw a bunch of people into panic. But yeah, I don't know if people got that with the lamest Harikari ever. It's like a collapsible blade. So when you go to Harikari yourself and it only becomes a blade at like half inch, so worst you get is a little flesh wound. Yeah, lamest Harikari in history. Never mind. Because it's a self-inflict. If you have to explain the joke, that makes it not funny. So I'm laughing. All to make some billionaires feel good. Keep in mind, you know what I know, you know what I know? Ali asked, "Do you think they won't pass it?" Again, never expect a large body of people to not be cruel given the chance. I would not be surprised given how disproportionately the financial portion of this bill impacts Republican voters and Republican politicians. The impact that this will have on them is so big that it's like, I mean, it's going to be like a rough year. I mean, if it passes, it sucks. But people are going to unalive a lot sooner than they should. People are not going to give it to live out their lives. Yeah, for government. Yeah. Yeah, that's how I feel is I won't gamble with your life. You know what I mean? One of the things that I've learned as someone that's a poker player and a gambler is you don't gamble when you don't have it. So when you're a politician, if you're working in earnest, right? If you're just a good person doing a job and you're not self-seeking, yes. Hiya. I don't know if you're watching me right now. Exactly. They're cutting off their nose to spite their face. I think Key asked, what about the canceled election in Florida? Is it a test? Absolutely. To not see it as a test. They're trying to see what they can get away with. I'm telling you, a 3-2 vote in Florida this past week. A bigger story, I think, than the big beautiful bill floundering, right? Yeah. Yeah, I used to work in Medicare and Medicaid for 4 or 5 years. And that was kind of one of the things that made me turn away from that industry was I started having conversations with people that used to be really cocky and pro-Trump, who were starting to feel the effects uh, of him, you know, it not being so fucking cool, right? So within the last 2, 3 years, and the tone went from I'm the jerk at all the family events because blah blah blah, and it went to now nobody will talk to me and I'm not invited to anything, and I haven't talked to my son or grandsons in how long, right? And now financially everything's upside down, and of course they're like I'm blaming Joe Biden at that point, right? And you kind of had to tell them like actually. But anyway, we're not trying to get banned on TikTok here. Good morning, everybody. There's almost 50 people, 60 plus people watching me right now. And as you all know, as I am akin to do anytime that I recognize that I have a lot of eyeballs on me, hey, try to get 8 hours of sleep a night. I think they're mowing my yard. So that's awesome. I can hear that inside of my brain. Maybe. Actually, not sure what that noise is outside. What the fuck was that noise? Yo, that was wild. My whole house was shaking. I hope it's just somebody mowing my grass. Otherwise, what the fuck? Anyway, get 8 hours of sleep a night. Make sure that you drink water, that you eat right, and that you exercise. I'm hoping that's just someone mowing my yard. Mhm. All right, audience needs to know first today. The Department of Justice has opened the door to stripping people's citizenship over politics. So, awesome. James Carville is warning everyone that Trump will rig the midterm elections. I would argue that he doesn't have the money to do it, and he can't also suspend or cancel elections. We learned yesterday Kilmar Brigo Garcia appears to have been tortured in CCOT. I was gonna make a video saying it's CCOT, which is a prison that was closed years ago, where they've got people that have been kidnapped and exiled from the United States to El Salvador, and it's called CCOT, not Epcot, and people are surprised. Mamdani, AOC, and Talib, the first three to go. Right. Anybody that has brown skin that has come out and spoke out against Donald Trump, you know. And the thing about it is, the people doing this are all pro First Amendment people. You should be able to say whatever you want. And like when nobody will talk to you anymore and wants anything to do with you anymore, right? I'm pretty sure it's the person mowing my yard. I was freaking out. I thought somebody was gonna ram my house with something. But yeah, I agree with AOC. You don't vote yes for something that you acknowledge is going to harm people, right? Does that make sense? If you ever decide to run for public office, you don't you don't vote yes for a bill that's gonna unalive people. That's gonna the thing I've already said. One of the reasons that I got out of Medicare healthcare and Medicaid is because it wasn't good enough. And I was like, I can't come to work every day and keep running into people that this isn't working for them. Does that make sense? Where your healthcare doesn't work, where your doctors don't take your healthcare, right? Where your drugs are just not covered, you know, and you got people that'll tell you some drugs, it doesn't matter what if you have Medicaid or not. And you're like, what? Talk about like a life-saving drug that it doesn't matter if you have Medicaid or not, it's not covered. And so what little money they have, they're spending on medication to keep themselves alive. That's where we were. So keep in mind The whole people paying their medical bills over eating, we're already there. We've been there for eons. We've been doing that. Gabby said, "Yes, totally agree with you. You're supposed to represent the people. That's why you're in the job position." Yeah, your modicum of success is the number of people that unalive during your term. Remember, I told you all this. When you look at Joe Biden, one of the things that you have to acknowledge is that the least American service members died on active duty under his watch ever. People were all talking about being pro-war and shit like that, and it's like, okay. For being pro-war, he surely cost us a few people. Hmm. Yeah, this is a wild thing for Joe Biden to say, right? In rare remarks, right? He hasn't said much since his term ended. His accomplishments are coming undone. That's such a wild thing to say, Joe. Obviously, there's a grand opening of what they've deemed Alligator Alcatraz. Let's call it what it is. It's a concentration camp. Alameda Auschwitz or something or some shit. And I wanna warn people about appealing to humanity with people that don't have any. And that's one of the problems that I have with the way Republicans are being handled at this juncture is you hear people saying like, "Oh, how could you stoop to that level?" And we've asked that question so long we've not figured out a solution to that problem. Is that these people have no bottom, right? President Obama urges the public to call their representatives to vote against this mega bill. Beck asked, "Did you see they have merch?" Yes, I did. I saw a gap-toothed white boy on TikTok proffering Alligator Alcatraz merch. Like he had it on, he was showing it off, and I was just like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Um, there's a video game called Wolfenstein, and also Mafia 3, by the way, and also Mafia 3. Really good video games. uh, Derek Van Orden, MAGA Republican, falsely claims they're not Trump's little bitches. Hey, the New Republic. I'm kind of about this life. Oh, I keep forgetting on TikTok you can't see the links if I post them. If you go up into my profile and click on the link for YouTube, you can go sit in the YouTube chat and see all the links that I post in the chat. There's also like just as many people on YouTube watching as there are on TikTok. which I can't always say, but that's funny. MAGA Republican falsely claims they're not Trump's little bitches. Jesus Christ. I agree with Zoran Mamdani that Donald Trump is attacking, just like the ugly red hats can really identify the dumb ones more easy. Walking target. Yeah. Beck said there's a much better experience on YouTube Live. I agree. I agree. I wish all of the people that were on TikTok would just go to YouTube and sit in YouTube Live, and then you can see the links to all the news stories that I'm sharing. Like, I actually do share quite a bit of content. I'd argue the most stories that you'll ever see in a 90-minute window that are like heavily news related items. And it has mine has a little bit of a spin, right? That I was in the military, that I'm pro the underdog. I have always rooted for the underdog. In every situation in life, imaginable, I have been like, oh, don't tell me the odds type of person. Um, and so when Russia, a large country, illegally invaded Ukraine, immediately, as though it were David v. Goliath, I was like, I hope David beats his ass. Just because, look what they did in Crimea, for example. Look at what they've done in Donbass. Look at what Wagner did, right? Um, which Wagner is a Russian mercenary group. So, fuck Wagner. They target U.S. service members. They don't. That's the thing. The thing is, their habits tell you everything. The habits of your leaders tell you everything you need to know. They're cocaine and ketamine users. They drink and party. They're living an a unique lifestyle in which they are absolutely not sleeping, staying up all night, and the only way they're awake, able to stay awake. Think about what. Okay, let's just say that you could survive it. I don't fucking know the answer to that. Okay? Let's just say you could survive all that drug use. How would you fucking stay awake? Caffeine. So I'm absolutely saying that the people that you don't like are overstimulated like a motherfucker on caffeine because of their drug use. I don't know if any of you have ever actually done drugs at all. But if you had done them and you were not able to sleep, you're like a fucking zombie the next day. The only way you're able to move is get some coffee in you. I I get 8 hours of sleep and I still drink coffee to wake up. Like, what are we talking about? Imagine if you're a druggie, right? So I just want to point out that they're not sleeping, and increasingly, the people, the fascistic right, excuse me, burp. That one came from like my soul. Sorry. Excuse me. Uh, increasingly they pick up drugs and alcohol. So they're increasingly picking up these really bad habits. There's a reason that I come on this show every day and say, get 8 hours of sleep, drink water, exercise, and eat right, because these people, the fascistic right in this country, and there's not that many of them because they fucking die fast. If you are not taking care of your body, that lifestyle will end you quickly. Come on now. I've sat here and we've detailed this every fucking day, and you notice I don't normally say anything about dargs, right? I'm really not trying to get banned on TikTok, right? But the reality of the situation is the people, your oppressors, we just got restricted for that. So we're gonna go ahead and restart. But yeah, everyone that I know that is a alcoholic or a druggie, Trumper. Hmm. Yep. All the people that are paying the price as a result of their decisions and are in later stages of life, having been any of those things, Trumper. There's a reason I'm up at 4:15 every morning, walking my dogs as the sun comes up every day, trying to stay active, right? And I do it all too, right? I do the dishes, I run the trash, hmm I clean house, take care of these animals, and work a full-time job. Yep. hmm Pretty soon we're gonna get into growing a garden. You know what? Where's Skylight and Neptune? Where are they at? Come on, man. I want another platform to go live on other than TikTok. Hey, if you're coming in here and chilling every day, go to the YouTube link in my bio. Sit in that audience, get to know those people. Say good morning to Bob and Zeke and Stacy and Gabby and Beck. And remember, what can you do? Protest, boycott, and strike. You know what's funny? Donald Trump is attacking PBS, right? He's trying to defund PBS. PBS used to stand for Public Broadcasting Station, but I think it just stands for protest, boycott, and strike. Curse to not be banned. Yeah. You know, one of the things that's crazy about the crackdown on language is that cussing is cultural. Um, just so you all know, if you have some issue with the way I talk and you report me, understand that English containing curse language um, is as a result of English being exposed to other cultures. For example, the word fuck. It hails from Germany. World War II, the German hostels, the women that worked in the hostels would shout fick ein," like "fuck me, come fuck me" to the U.S. soldiers as they pass. And fuck was adopted into the English language pretty quickly, and you can see how simple the American male mind is, right? Because once you find that out, you're like, what about shit? And then you find out shit was adopted into English from shite, which is quite literally poop. It's actually like burnt poop. That's actually what shite is. So I know that it's real hard. Yeah, cease. He said he didn't want the big beautiful bill to affect people that have Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP benefits. I just want to make sure that you all understand that that doesn't make any fucking sense because the bill cuts Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP benefits. Millions of Americans are, and keep in mind, you know how Donald Trump also hates people that don't look like him? They overwhelmingly don't get SNAP, Medicare, and Medicaid. So they're denied those benefits. Of course, he didn't know he's just a showman. Right. Yep. My favorite aunt reached out to me and said she didn't vote for this and that she's going through cancer treatment right now and she's afraid that she'll lose her benefits and that the her health care won't cover her treatment. If you voted for Donald Trump, that's on you. Should this bill pass, that's on you. It's never the people, well, I mean it is almost always disproportionately going to come back and make multiple come see him to express concern ability. So well, as long as you don't touch Medicare, Medicare stuff, you'll be fine. Like what? Yeah, yeah. That's what I was saying. Like how in the darkest, by the way, Kamala Harris did say only when it is darkest will you truly see the stars. Fuck. You went on nuts. So yeah, I hope that Ozzy, listen, the first thing that you never have to do is lie to me. You don't have to lie to me. You don't even have to do that. All you have to do is be nice. Gabby said it's been dark. At least you used Youre. I'm not even gonna judge you for the lack of apostrophe. The fact that you even used the right your. You see, I have really low expectations, Ozzy. Do you see how that can be really fucking dangerous? So there's some links in the chat. Mayday Movement, 5050.1, indivisible.org. Delete Facebook, Threads, IG, WhatsApp, Messenger, Twitter. Stop using Amazon. Hey, they keep talking about when is the strike? When is the strike? And that there'll be like this 3-day strike, and they're trying to keep it all hidden. I think we should do a 3-day strike during Amazon's Prime Days, July 8th through 11th, because it's right in between the July 4th protests and the July 17th protests. July 8th through 11th is should be the strike. And this is my birthday month too. Man, we're on it. So, if you haven't figured out how this is going to affect you, this bill passing, which I'm guessing it will pass. People keep saying, yeah, is the month I was born. July is the month I was born, Sandy. So, it's pretty amazing, I might add. But understand, if you can get to Washington, D.C., there's an organized protest every day. They're in their third month in a row. So they were going for 90 days in a row. They're in the last 30 days of that. Okay? Protest, you have a Dodgers hat on. Yeah, Dodgers turned away ice. Do you see how that works? What do you see? Like, thank you for calling that. Oh, okay. No bio. Cool story. I'm not going to suffer a fool. That's how it works, everybody. People choose to be an antagonist. So few people choose to be like a protagonist. Jeff McDonald asked, "Have you signed the Pennsylvania petition?" I don't know what you're talking about. Well, keep in mind AI wrote the bill. So, speaking of auto pen, none of them have read it. None of them wrote it. It's auto pen. Why do you think Donald Trump came out screaming about auto pen? Because he realized that he cannot govern by fiat. He cannot sit in the White House and write executive order and presidential order and it become law. Cease ask. You see what he posted about Jamie Raskin? No. I thought this was a little bananas yesterday. Military leaders fighting. Oh wow, earthquake. Oh, I keep forgetting on TikTok. None of the links I get post. Are you in a basement? No. Oh, are you just catching up? No, I think they came in mode. Yep, and I don't know if we talked about this on the show yet. We probably should. Here's Homan downplaying the number of people that have died in ICE custody. I think someone asked, "Can we sue?" 20 states are suing the Trump administration after they released private Medicaid data to deportation officials. Here's an opinion piece from the New York Times talking about the financial impacts of the big beautiful bill are already happening and the bill hasn't even passed. Remember I told you I've run other people's businesses. I've been promoted in every business I've ever worked. This time of year right now is when you're preparing a budget for next year. So when all the hospital funding is in question, don't don't be surprised if it doesn't even matter if the big beautiful bill passes or not. Small hospitals and clinics and the people that work at those places ain't gonna make it. Not gonna make it. because the funding's not guaranteed for next year. So I know that everybody is just sure, you know, things are gonna be. It's okay, okay. But no, it wasn't an earthquake. I think they just came out of my yard. Either that or somebody did a drive by. With a mower, with a mower. God, I just don't. It's the drugs. It's the drugs and caffeine. They're overstimulated. They're You can drink too much coffee. I learned that when my wife and I went to Oregon, that most people don't know how to make coffee. So when they make coffee, it's not as good as it could be. It's not as potent as it could be. And that certain cities that you go to in the United States, and I'm willing to bet Washington, D.C. is one of them, that their coffee is no bullshit. And I'm willing to bet these motherfuckers go there and they're over caffeinated and caffeine it enrages you. So imagine you're already stupid and now you're in an environment where you're woefully out of place. And you are get trapped in this lifestyle that you absolutely cannot maintain. The stay up all night party, you know, put your fingers in your nose, stuff like that. Fully explains why my doctor tried to put me on blood pressure med when my BP is normal. Why? Because I walked in with a LV bag. Get the fuck out of here. Oh wait, crazy, Stace. I have noticed that my whole life because my dad. I don't know if I ever told y'all this story. But basketball was my first love and is a lifelong love. I still love basketball. I'm closest to people that also love ball. Those are the people that I'm closest with. The people that love like football and basketball. Those are the people that I'm closest to. But my dad, when I was growing up, my dad would never let me wear Jordans. And I'm not making it make sense. This is not, I'm never holding that motherfucker's water. Okay. But what I can say pretty cleanly is that my dad was a person who believed that only greatness is only possible through hard work. Which, when I just want to point this out, when greatness is only possible through hard physical labor, you are completely dismissing like the natural, the savant, you know what I mean? The somebody who shit comes easy to and who should be moving on to more complex things. Like once it can learn, you want to teach it as much as you can. You don't want to stop right here and just focus on this for the rest of your life. You want to oh, you can learn? Oh shit. Teach you as much as we can. Instead, from a very young age, I was conditioning and you know what I mean? Like I was doing things that most kids don't do. My dad was taking me to Wabanzi College when I was in second grade to play basketball at their co-rec so that I could get time against kids that are like way bigger and older and stronger and smarter than me, right? And then also took me into rough parts of Chicago and dropped me off in a park and said, "Have fun." And I'm still to this day, the only reason that I'm still alive is because my dad left, felt bad, came back, saw that I did what I had to do. I went out there and played fucking ball, and I'm a good basketball player. And he realized that all the kids that I was playing basketball with weren't wearing tennis shoes. And so he went and bought shoes and socks and a big Gatorade cooler and stuffed it full of Gatorade and water and brought and ice and brought it back and gave it the fuck away to all these kids. And then every now and then we'd go out there and play basketball, and the kids always came out with their shoes fucking spotless. And my dad would never let me have Jordans growing up. He was just like, you don't wear them to play basketball, which is fine. I'm fine with that. As I get older, I'm like, they're not really for basketball. To be completely honest with you, like they're more of like a dress shoe. If I'm just being honest. But I tell you all of this to tell you this because my daddy wouldn't let me wear Jordans. I wear fucking Jordans as an adult. And when I've gone places, I have seen a lack of empathy because they dress you down. Because they look at you and then they look at your clothes and they see, oh, he's wearing a Jordan hoodie and a Dodgers hat. Oh, he's got money. I'm not helping him. I've absolutely seen it like that. And it's not so much from the people that you expect. Like when you go to a restaurant or you go to a night out on the town, like you go to a concert or something, and people see that you dress like money, they instantly know he's being subtle about it, but I bet you he tips like a motherfucker. That's because I worked in the service industry. And so I was a bartender. I was the guy serving everybody. The people that outwardly show it off got it and they share it. It's the people that you can't get a read on that they say, how much is a vodka soda? What's your well vodka? Can I get a double? How much is that? Like 450, and gives you a $5 bill and walks off. That's the motherfucker you can't put a read on, right? But the dude that is wearing fucking Jordans and he's in a good mood, right? He's gonna order shots for a bunch of his friends that shows up because he has friends, right? Yep, yep, yep. The thing about it is that I've noticed is people can't have empathy until it directly impacts you. Like until it directly impacts you, you cannot have empathy. So again, I don't want this big beautiful bill to pass. I don't want a bunch of people to lose their health care. I think it's a terrible decision. Okay. I want to increase the benefits. I want to make them codified. I want Americans to know the reason we're the greatest country in the world is that we will never let you down. And what we'll do is we'll make sure, I'm telling you, I've been saying it, the American Socialist Party gets gets to stand up and say no other American political party has a platform that includes the things we need, universal health care, education, income, and housing, and has the path to getting them and providing them. And ultimately, it's going to come down to the states doing it themselves because the federal government apparently needs to be weakened so that this can never happen again. This is what needs to happen is we need to weaken the role of the federal government and this includes you stop paying your federal taxes. Yep. Understand that if you make enough money, though, that could be a considerable amount of money, and I would be careful about that. If you're like me and you're terrible financially, you should just keep paying it. Gabby asked on YouTube, "How soon will we need to put a picture of Trump in our house and pray to it?" That'll never happen. Not in this house. God, what a piece of shit. Him, not you. He would totally have you do that. I don't know if you saw that, Blue. That was Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't know if you are you guys wrestling fans from back in the day. Okay, just checking. What I'm deciding to do is to fill my life with like things that make me happy. Maximum fucking happiness. I'm gonna get on here every day and swim through this shit with you. But I'm also gonna go out of my way to fill my life and the life of the people around me with happiness. Don't be surprised if you see a lot more of my dogs. I'm not gonna let these weak, feckless motherfuckers um or turning left. Yeah, I think it will. I think it will. Went on a search, then the video from the People's Union about a 1 month Amazon boycott's gone. Yeah. Well, you got to realize so many people are relying on Amazon, and so here's why. You want to know why you should not say that about a month-long Amazon boycott, even though I think we already did that. There are so many people in rural America that are required to use Amazon, and they otherwise live in like a what's it called? Like where there's not food, a food desert, and so they have to use Amazon to ship them their food. Um, with the big beautiful bill passing and it fucking up people's healthcare and clinics closing left and right, if you also try to pump an Amazon boycott, you're just straight up starving and unaliving a bunch of people that live in rural part of the country. Yeah. Although blue, I will say, uh, boycotting them for a few days during Amazon Prime days is perfect. Striking during Amazon Prime days, perfect. But yeah, anytime you got to understand how things impact people and it's just woefully it's disastrous to say don't use Amazon for a month, everybody, and also we're taking your fucking healthcare away and closing all your hospitals and clinics nearby. Good luck. Like, yeah. hmm you just you cause a bunch of people to just but what is forced to happen is all those people are now forced to go into big cities to get their health care, and what are they going to find? That the big cities not all bad. All the stuff you want to do, it happens in the cities. All the sports happens in the cities. All the conventions happen in the cities. You know what I mean? Any good music that comes through happen in the cities. Hmm. I mean, Jeff Bezos did fund this regime. So, in terms of what would be most impactful, would be a strike during Amazon Prime days. hmm Yeah, Bob said one of the benefits he gets from Medicare's over-the-counter stuff has to be to order through Amazon. Right. There's a reason that I haven't sat here and been like, oh, look, the big beautiful bill is going to pass. Now's a great time for an Amazon boycott for a month. No, but you could probably do it for a few days though. You could like not shop for a few days and not buy anything for a few days if you like stock up, right? And one of the things that you can do is just order extras food that you would order for like the 4th of July and just put in a freezer. And then for the week or so after the fucking 4th, you have the food to cover yourself in the event that there's a strike. Because here's the thing, whether or not you participate doesn't mean shit's not gonna pop. And I'm telling you, if this bill passes, oh, you thought the last protest was big. Just wait until Meemaw's losing her fucking health care. That bitch is gonna be out there in a fucking these assholes. I voted for you and you're fucking taking my Medicaid. Ah! Yeah, just wait. Just wait. It's coming. Yeah. Beck, I try not to. You can't help it though. Can't help it. Some things you're gonna have to order from Amazon. Otherwise, you're gonna pay an arm and a leg for it. Nauseous ambiance. Fancy seeing you here. Yeah, boycott Amazon 8 to 11. Yeah, that's what I think. Protests on the 4th, boycott Amazon from the 8th to 11th. I'm anticipating that that will be the days of the strike, so that everybody has like an idea. Because nobody's, I haven't seen anybody make any content like guessing. I even think that's like a good time. Nobody's doing shit anyway. It's the dog days of summer. Blue said I'll do whatever's necessary. Yeah, me too. Huh. So the one link that TikTok would let me pass along is the Mayday movement. Hmm. That's probably the other reason why the barricades went up. Yeah. Yeah. Well, remember Donald Trump's rumored to fire somebody. Hmm. There you go. That's fair. Yeah, what I've started to do is try to focus on doing business locally. You know what I mean? Like I specifically looked for a local Hispanic owned business, right? Pay them in cash, pay them good money, right? Been here 15 fucking years, right? And I didn't really want to talk about it because it's like there's already enough going on today, but fuck it. Let's just go all the way down. Kilmar Abrego Garcia says he was tortured. I'm guessing it's Amazon Prime days, July 8th through 11th. I'm not in charge or anything, Blue. Just so you know, I don't have any say. I'm a nobody. So just because I'm like, hey, that would be ideal, is fuck them when they're robbing you. One of the things that I've learned, for example, when it comes to like computers and computer parts, is like if I need to buy that and I go on Amazon and try to buy it, you're like, whoa, that's like retail. And when you go into like a micro center or something and it's hundreds of dollars less, and you're like, what the fuck? How often are you gonna do that now? Look at this shit. Mikey, me and our sister had our second child today. We named him Donald. MAGA 2028. Yeah, oh, well, in that case, fuck those people too. How the fuck could you be in business and still be MAGA is beyond me. How the fuck could you be like outwardly MAGA is beyond me. It's such a weird cult. I mean, as I've said before, oh, you don't even want to know. You don't even want to know how I get the guess who your boy doesn't sell very well to? White boys from the South. How the fuck did I know that? Watch your child be Democrat. Well, I hope they're neither Democrat or Republican. I wouldn't mind if they were socialists, though. And when I say that I'm a socialist, that just means I want equality for all. And then one of the major tenets of socialism is like the overthrowing the means of production. And just to put that in modern language, all it means is that I'm pro-union. So, by the way, if you haven't already, join a union. I work in finance, and as you can imagine, it's like the fucking wild, wild west. So, Bob said Kool-Aid drinker. So I have joined a union, And if you've wondered, why is it this way? Why does life suck ass? It's because for the last 7 decades, union membership's been on a downswing. So if we could just turn that around and everyone join a fucking union, and then as you age and you've been a part of the union and you've shared their shit and you've shown up and you've helped and you get like a role within the union as a socialist, and then your job is to help people get better wages and health care and not have your fucking management turning the hose on you when you're deciding to organize and unionize and demand better treatment, like Amazon did, for example. Um, you're going to do that through a union. And I just saw a pilots union negotiated. Some of these pilots are getting $1 million payouts for their careers in aviation, and that's only happening because of unions. And I didn't talk about this much as a kid, or as a young adult, and haven't said much about it up until now. But my dad was a scab. My dad crossed the picket line. Uh, to be fair, they were pulling people out of the military to become air traffic controllers because they didn't have them. So when you offer someone who's making like $23,000 a year, when you offer them $45,000 and send them back home, um, anybody in their right fucking mind is gonna be like, wait, so you'll pay me double and I get to go back where I'm from? Oh, okay. So yes, on the one hand, my old man's a scab, crossed the picket line, took a job with the FAA. I also want to point out that the weakening of unions. So think about this. My dad crossed the picket line to take a job with the FAA, and many moons later, when I was going through college, the FAA went on a hiring freeze because of the fucking government. But when you need something, nobody is there. What do you mean? Nobody's where? I don't understand what that means. Where's there? You got to realize individuals letting you down is not the organization letting you down, or a union letting you down. A shitty union does not make unions bad. Okay? There's going to be shit people in positions of power doing shit. It sucks forever. Husband's company moved us here from Ohio and I fucking hate it. Been here since 2018. Yeah. Deborah said, unions are great. Yeah. Who's they? Who's they? Because I recall when Zoran Mamdani was kidnapped and exiled, it was his union that spoke out, not his elected officials, not the president. It was the head of his union. He's a steelworker. That's the most being there for you that someone could be, is to use their voice, right? So again, if you're decrying unions because you had a bad experience with unions, that's called letting your anecdotal experience shape your worldview when your individual experience is unique and important, but it shouldn't shape your worldview of something like the efficacy of unions. Excuse me. I know that's a difficult concept because many people are like, wait a minute, my lived experience isn't valid. And it's like, well, actually, your your lived experience kind of fits into like a small portion of like the overall impact of what's really going on. So I know it's tough. It's hard out here for a pimp. Michael Heron said raised union, worked union, retired union, sons all union, never crossed the picket line, never will. Yeah. That's the general idea. My dad, despite crossing a picket line, and again, I think more like they let him out of the military early because they were short of air traffic controllers. But he was awfully pro-union growing up, and even though my dad ended up a Trumper, and retired, um, I remember him dragging me to NACA meetings, and making me understand the reason that this job is desirable is because of the support it receives from NACA, the National Air Traffic Controllers Association. It's the union for the FAA. Yeah, Stacy said it was move or give up everything, so that was a necessary move. Should we get rid of 25 years annuity? Yeah, so for the record, I never held it against my old man for crossing a picket line because it's such a muddy situation. But now I'm older and I realize like he didn't have that long left in the military and he could have just had some principle and waited it out and the job was still available. So he could have still gotten a job with the FAA and not have crossed the picket line. And then that doesn't go on our family name. You know what I mean? Like some decisions you make will just like impact you forever, right? But yeah, solidarity with all my fellow union members. Um, one of the things that I've noticed is life can get really lonely, but when you are willing to put yourself out there and just say, unions are important. These groups like the American Legion and the VFW, these are important organizations because life can get lonely. You can get trapped in your head, and it'll make you lose empathy. Yeah. And keep in mind, I joined Work in America. I shared that with you. You can join it too. It doesn't cost money. You can just donate. Same thing as when I start the American Socialist Party. There's no cost to join. That would be fucking insane if the American Socialist Party had a membership fee. Um, and then what I hope to do is have people draw their own logos and come up with their own logos and wear it and show it off and show people that. Bectrola said I'm Amvets and the Moose. I don't know what the fucking moose is. They said try to stay occupied today. Yeah. I noticed the AI tech crunch hit, all those people's jobs got taken away, and for the last 2 days, I've had issues with Salesforce. I just want to throw that out there. I know people are like, wait, what? Yeah, yeah. So, ride or die, I'm here every day. You know me. We'll talk soon. Yeah. Oh, like the Moose Lodge of Fraternal Org Children and Seniors. All right. One last thing and then I'll go. So my only real ever exposure to these orgs, my wife's uncle Terry died. He was a Vietnam era Marine Corps infantry, hoorah, all that shit. He On his first deployment, shit was wild, and on his second deployment, he knew the lay of the land so well that he didn't have to do the shooty shooty bang bang shit. He could just like drive, and he ended up like getting out, coming home, owned multiple houses, owned multiple businesses, chain smoked on oxygen up until the very end, and I'm happy to report that he was buried intact. So, for those of you that immediately were like, how fucking dangerous and stupid is that? Well, um, when he unalived and they were gonna go do his kind of like celebration of life or whatever you call it, because he was cremated, we were at the VFW and it was a fat like staff sergeant of the army by himself. They played taps off a tape machine, and I was beside myself for this Vietnam era Marine. One uniformed soldier played taps off a recorder at the VFW in your name. That was my only real exposure to those orgs. So that's why I never joined